John Candy, one of, if not my favorite comedic actor of all time. Simply the GOAT of the 80s, specifically, which was his big heyday. He made the most films. Obviously, he only got 3-4 years into the 90s before he passed away. Super tragic, gone way too soon, had so much left in the tank, but what he left us was invaluable and undeniable with the films he did leave us. Today, I'm going to be talking about my top 5 John Candy films. The top 5 John Candy films, according to me. Now, everybody, I would love to hear your top 5 down below. Say it down below what your top 5 John Candy movies are. So 2 of these are very, very underrated, in my opinion. Super underrated, not talked about enough in the pantheon of John Candy films. Now, John Candy, Canadian actor, got his start on sctv as he did with Catherine O'Hare, Joe Flaherty, Dave Thomas. Later, Rick Moranis was a part of sctv. A lot of great comedians came out of Canada. Canada, the North, knew comedy. Dan Aykroyd, Canadian. Jim Carrey, Canadian. The Canadians they have a sense of humor, and there's an element to Canadian comedians and comedic actors that is very, I don't want to say distinct because they're all different, but there was no denying that Canada knew how to make us laugh, without a doubt. And there are so many John Candy films in such a small period of time. So the ones I'm focusing on are John Candy lead movies he had the lead in. I grew up loving John Candy films. Maybe because my dad was a little heavier set gentleman too. Maybe that made me love John Candy a little bit more. John Candy felt like he could have been an uncle. Uncle Buck, obviously. Hilarious film. There's so many different John Candy roles. I would have been excited to see what he would have done with more dramatic acting. And if he got into more dramatic roles, I think he could have been done. And he touches on it a bit. And we're going to talk about that in some of the films that we're going to be discussing right now. The first John Candy film I'm going to talk about is from 1991. A bit of his dramatic chops showing even more so, obviously, in the comedy roles that they showed. There was those scenes and the stories that would have him be painted as a sympathetic character, and he would be able to show like a different side to himself. But this one I really, really like, and it is called Only the Lonely. So there's no official Blu-ray release of this out. It's only on DVD, and it goes for high dollar on DVD. This is a great little bootleg I got, and if you message me, I'll tell you the site that I got it from, because I don't want to out them, because I don't want them to get shut down. But this is a great, great transfer. It looks like it was a transfer from wherever this movie it was streaming or is streaming, and I could stream this, but I wanted to buy it, and I finally picked it up off this bootleg site because I had sampled some of their other films that they have on there. Looked great. They actually add some special features on here too, like just interviews, and Maureen O'Hara, who is the star in this one, no relation to Catherine, plays the mother. John Candy plays a son who is a Chicago police officer who's looking for love, and he finds it in Ally Sheedy. Ally Sheedy, as we know, the basket case from Breakfast Club, the airline attendant in Home Alone. She's been in a million different films. St. Elmo's Fire, 80s staple. Ally Sheedy indeed was. Short Circuit. But I'll tell you what, right now, this one, John Candy really plays just kind of a lovelorn guy that's torn between, the advice, his best friend, played by Jim Belushi, John Belushi's brother. And he's torn between the advice of his friend, his mother, people around him in his neighborhood about what to do as far as being a single guy. There is a lot of comedy in this one, but this is more of a dramatic, like, romance. It's a rom-com for sure. But he is great in this. I'm not saying that this is the best film ever, but I think this shows a lot more acting chops from John Candy in where he plays a little bit more reserved. He's less of like kind of a bumbling like klutz, and kind of there's a little less comedy, not a lot less comedy, but a little less comedy And this is a great romantic comedy film. Only the Lonely came out in 1991. If you've seen this, let me know that you've seen it and let me know if you like it. But this one is number 5 for me. Only the Lonely, directed by Chris Columbus, written by Chris Columbus, and also produced by John Hughes. Classic. As you know, Chris Columbus directed the Home Alones. He directed or wrote Gremlins. He wrote Goonies. I mean, enough said. Again, leading John Candy roles. I wouldn't consider like Nothing But Trouble. I would probably have above Only the Lonely. Stripes, I'd probably have above Only the Lonely. But those aren't starring roles. He's not the star in them. He's not first or second billed. So we're sticking to movies he was the lead or co-lead in for sure. The second one, there's no Blu-ray release of this. This needs a Blu-ray release, as does Only the Lonely needs an official one, but this is a great bootleg. This one, I only have it in a 2-pack with Cops and Robertsons with Chevy Chase and Jack Palance. But this one, number 4, Armed and Dangerous. This one is insanely funny. This one I grew up with. I thought it was hilarious, years and years and years ago as a child. I watch it now, and it's even funnier. Eugene Levy, Meg Ryan. Eugene Levy, obviously, another Canadian. Brethren got his start in sctv as well. But I'll tell you what right now, this one might be the most underrated John Candy film, period. Point blank, period. John Candy plays a cop that loses his job and goes to like a watchdog, like security, to be a watchdog security officer. Eugene Levy plays like a public defender attorney who is just terrible at his job and ends up doing, the watchdog job security gimmick as well with John Candy. And Meg Ryan is there too. Her father is like the manager or the owner of this watchdog thing. There's corruption in it, but it's pretty much two guys that are pretty much pinched out of their jobs and end up uncovering some crime related corruption within this watchdog job. So Mark L. Lester directed Armed and Dangerous, and he directed Firestarter with Drew Barrymore. He directed Commando with Arnold. He directed Class of 1984. He did a bunch of stuff, and this one is hilarious. And Harold Ramis wrote the screenplay. Old Egon himself wrote the screenplay for Armed and Dangerous. And this one is just super funny. It's got Tiny Lister, Zeus, if you're a No Holds Barred fan, or early 90s WWF fan. He was also, of course, Debo in Friday. But yeah, he's in this early role. That's pre No Holds Barred. Just a giant, hilarious performance from John Candy as well. Armed and Dangerous, definitely check that one out. And I'm talking about 1987's Planes, Trains, and Automobiles with Steve Martin, John Candy. You know this one. Del Griffith and Neil Page, two guys trying to get home for Thanksgiving. You find out John Candy doesn't have a home. His wife died, and you find that out. Tremendously dramatic role towards the latter part of the film from John Candy, but insanely funny, off the charts. I don't know anybody who doesn't love Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Written, directed, produced by John Hughes. John Hughes is just a juggernaut in 80s comedy. We owe him so much. We owe him endlessly for not only writing, directing, producing some of the great comedies that we love, but also bringing actors like Steve Martin in and John Candy in over and over again, and all the little things that John Hughes always did to make everything seem authentic. Breakfast Club resonates 41 years later because it resonates still, even though it's 1985. Even though, bullying in school still happens. Hierarchy in school still happens. Cliques in school still happen. He tapped into that in 1985, brought it to the screen, and made children, teenagers and preteens, made them relatable And The Breakfast Club is a movie that doesn't just appeal to preteens and teens and 20-year-olds. It appeals to the people that are now 40s and 50s and 60s now. The movie's 41 years old. It's crazy to really think that like the impact of a movie can be so relevant, and it's so time stamped with 1985, something like that. As is this. This feels like it could have been made at any era, as long as you take out like the lack of technology and the cars and maybe the wardrobes. This movie could take place in just about any year because they make it so relatable, and they make everything about John Candy and Steve Martin's quickly forged relationship hilarious and super relatable to being around someone who's super annoying that you can't get away from. That is, Planes, Trades, and Automobiles is just a staple that I think everyone that I know has seen it loves it. If you've seen this and you don't love it, we're gonna have problems with each other, and we probably should stay away from each other. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, 1987. Nice little 4K, came out a few years ago. I had the DVD for years. The Those Aren't Pillows special edition with the slipcase. I think I gave that away, but I picked up the 4K. 4K looks great. Number 3, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. My number 2. I know this one would be a lot of people's number 1s, but it is actually my number 2. It could easily be number 1 on some days. 1989's Uncle Buck. This one is, the quotes for this one are insane. Go downtown and have a rat gnaw that thing off your face. Good day to you, ma'am. Super quotable. There's so much funny stuff in Uncle Buck, and we all know, like, we can relate even to. I know the mother in Uncle Buck is seen as such a bitch, like she's so like mean and just like condescending to Buck and her daughter. But her daughter treats her like utter shit, as teenagers do. Teenagers just treat their parents like dog crap sometimes. But man, her disdain for Buck in this movie is hilarious. Like when he breaks the china, and then he's just like, where would you find something like that? Oh, and it just in the I've been leaving the toilet seat up for him. Oh, is that right? The blue water, that's bad for him. Just the shit in this, the giant pancake. I send a couple friends on their birthday. I send them the picture of John Candy with the giant pancake. You know, you should have seen the toast. I couldn't even get it through the door. The fucking clown. I bet you didn't know this. The fucking clown is Mike Starr, and not Mike Starr, the Alice in Chains bassist. It's fucking Mike Starr from Dumb and Dumber. It's Mike Starr, the gas man from Dumb and Dumber.
In the field of local live home entertainment. Oh my God!
Get in your mouse and get out of here.
Get in your mouse and get out of here. I could quote Uncle Buck all day. I'm obsessed with the movie. I have to watch it at least once a year. It's just so, and Kino Lorber did a banger job on this 4K. Comes with the 4K and the Blu-ray. I don't think it has much for special features on this one. Audio commentary by film historians. I hate when they do that. They just get random people to do commentary. I don't care what you think about the movie. And then another commentary, and then 16 going on 17, interview with actress Jean Louisa Kelly, and a theatrical trailer. So lacking in the special features realm. I wish there was a little more on there, but Kino Lorber does a great job, and this is a great transfer. The transfer looks great in this. The Blu-ray looks just as good, honestly. The Blu-ray might have better hues. I don't know. I feel like that happens more and more often. But regardless, Kino Lorber put this out a few years ago, and it looks excellent. Uncle Buck, man, the character of Uncle Buck is so much John Candy. Like, there's so much John Candy put into that role that makes it so lovable. And he is like, just like, if you can put yourself in the position of Tia, the eldest daughter, you can put yourself in the position of the mother. You can put yourself in, how timely. Amy Madigan, who just won an Oscar for Weapons. Guess what? She's in here as Uncle Buck's girlfriend, Shanice Kobylowski at Kobylowski Tires. Great role. That's my Amy Madigan reference. When people show her and they're talking about her, I know she was in Streets of Fire, which I love too. But man, listen, when I see her, she's not Amy Madigan. She's Shanice Koblaski, Koblaski Tires. Yeah, so pick this up. And I'll tell you what, right now, this one was put out by Universal, my number one. And I know maybe this isn't going to be everyone's number one, but it's my number one. It's the John Candy movie that I have been obsessed with since I was a child. All these movies I've been obsessed with. I love John Candy. Like I said, if he's not number one, he's number two. I could probably go back and forth with on him and Eddie. Eddie, I'm cutting Eddie off in like early 90s. Anything after that, not really. But The Great Outdoors with Dan Aykroyd. Come on now. Written and produced by John Hughes, but directed by Howie Deutsch. Howie Deutsch also directed Pretty in Pink, also directed Some Kind of Wonderful. Actually met Leah Thompson on the set of Some Kind of Wonderful, and they've been married ever since. The Dirty Dog stole her from all of us. But I'll tell you what right now. This is no holiday, this is war. What a great tagline for this one. So Universal put this one out, this Blu-ray out, but I'll tell you what right now. If you wait a couple more, I think it comes out in May, so a couple more months, Kino Lorber's putting out a nice 4K Blu-ray, the same they did with Uncle Buck. They just got Great Outdoors, and so if you want to pick that one up in a couple months, it's coming out on a 4K Blu-ray disc. But this one, man, I grew up with this one. The way people quote Uncle Buck, and I can quote Uncle Buck, I can quote Great Outdoors just as much. I love the Great Outdoors so much. The idea of the ignorant, just dickhead uncle ruining your vacation is relatable on many levels. And I love the back and forth that John Candy, who plays Chet Ripley, who's bringing his family and his two sons out to, experience the Great Outdoors, get out of city life and touch grass and connect with nature and, go camping and do the things that his character did when he was younger. And that's a big emphasis on it. And Roman Krieg, the uncle, played by Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd plays a perfect asshole, like snooty, snobby, like rich dickhead. He plays him so well. This is honestly my favorite Dan Aykroyd performance, bar none. Dan Aykroyd is equally as great in this. John Candy is just the lovable dad, Chet Ripley, in this. And there's so much, he's painted as just a simple man in like the best way. And, he just wants to have hot dogs. Roman's like, you gotta have lobster tails. These are $40 a pop or whatever. It's so relatable to just deal with, to hear the character that Dan Aykroyd plays is just the guy that's always got something to say. The guy that's always going to be a story topper. The guy that's always just running his mouth. And it's a nice, relatable aspect that the normal person gets to John Candy, where you just want to tell the guy that won't shut up to shut the hell up. And John Candy and Dan Aykroyd play off each other so great. I love that this looks like an outdoors magazine too. The original cover is just it's so perfect. It's so awesome. I've always loved the cover. The cover is so sick. They just don't make comedies like this anymore. And it's just the simple like comedy of like the raccoons talking and like, it's just so like, it's goofy and it wouldn't work today. But at the same time, like, I just don't no comedic actor is as lovable as John Candy was and as relatable and just like fun to watch. I don't watch like Jonah Hill. I don't watch Seth Rogen. I don't watch Kevin Hart. I don't watch any comedic actor that makes comedy movies in current day that I never want to, even like you talk like Galifianakis, even Will Ferrell. Like I've rewatched Anchorman a bunch. Like I love Anchorman. I love Old School. There's plenty of comedies that I think are great. I think Superbad is great. I think Superbad gets way more credit than it deserves when I hear people say, oh, Superbad's the last great comedy that came out. I'd say Sex Drive from 2010 is way funnier. Check that one out. That one's way funnier. Actually, I think it was 2008. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't know, man. There's just something about the classic 80s comedy movie that is lost and couldn't be made today, because I think comedy is the one genre where tastes evolve and like stuff that like could be either offensive or too low brow for people, they don't bite on anymore. I even feel like Dumb and Dumber to an extent misses a whole newer generation because they don't find it as funny as, like, I don't know, as I did as a kid, or anybody my age or a little older or a little younger did as a kid. Or Ace Ventura. Like Ace Ventura, I feel like maybe those are like outliers because Jim Carrey's so beloved. But like Great Outdoors, like even I'll show Mrs. Heartgod, I'll show her some of these comedies from the 80s and they will just miss her. And she's only 4 years younger than me, but they just miss her for some reason. But she does love John Candy. She does like John Candy. And I'm grateful for that because she'll at least watch through the John Candy films for me, or with me and for me. But man, John Candy in the 80s, I'm not sure anybody could touch him as far as sheer talent and relatability from film to screen to home to into your home. I'm not sure anybody can touch him. And it's just such a shame we lost him so young, but those are my top 5 John Candy flicks. Number 1, The Great Outdoors from 1988. Number 2, Uncle Buck. These were back to back, actually. Uncle Buck from 1989 and 1987. We're at that right in a row. So 87, 88, 89. God damn, what a run right there. 87, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, my number 3. 86, oh, we're going right back. We're going 86, 87, 88, 89. My number 4, Armed and Dangerous from 86, and Only the Lonely from 1991, the sole 1990s movie on my top 5 list. 2 films in John Candy's filmography that I think are super underrated that you need to check out if you have not seen them. Only the Lonely from 1991, written and directed by Chris Columbus, starring John Candy, of course, Ali Sheedy. 1986's Armed and Dangerous, featuring Eugene Levy, Meg Ryan, and John Candy, written by Harold Ramis. Those 2 movies are super underrated. I highly suggest you check them out. What's your favorite John Candy movie? What is your favorite underrated John Candy movie? Comment below. With that said, listen, John Candy will live on forever. He is one of the most beloved comedic actors ever. I feel like as time goes on, you know, they had the John Candy I Like Me doc that came out. I thought that was good. Man, there's just not enough that can be said about John Candy, about the person he was. If you watch that film, you'll hear, or, you know, that film that Colin Hanks did on John Candy, I Like Me. You'll hear nothing but great stories and praise that everyone has for him because he was as nice as a guy as some of his characters portrayed. And hell, the world of comedy missed out on so many more John Candy films, but can only be happy that we got what we got because we got such a plethora of films of his and his talent portrayed on screen that we can enjoy. And yeah, obviously the classic bangers, Uncle Buck, Great Outdoors, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. There are plenty of John Candy movies that I love, but starring roles, 2 that I think they're underrated, definitely Only the Lonely, Armed and Dangerous. Check those out. If you haven't seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, if you haven't seen The Great Outdoors, if you haven't seen Uncle Buck, what are you doing? Go watch them now. Go buy physical copies of them, own them forever, and learn to quote it, because when I quote it to you or someone else quotes it to you out in the wild, we want to be respected, and we want you to quote it back. When someone says those aren't pillows, I want you to get it. And if you don't, that's going to be a problem. It's going to be embarrassing for you. Don't make it weird. Go watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Don't even wait till Thanksgiving. Go see it now. Watch it now. As the snow's melting in March, go see it. And go watch The Great Outdoors and Uncle Buck right now if you haven't seen them. Anyway, with that said, what are your favorite John Candy films? What are your favorite John Candy films that are underrated? Comment below. Let me know your top 5 John Candy films. Say them below. And tell me what you think his most underrated film is, in your opinion. Could go Delirious, Who's Harry Crumb? There's plenty to go by. Viva la John Candy. I love the guy. He left us with so much. And yeah, John Candy forever. And we'll see you on the next video.